Hello guys, welcome to Budget Geeks. Today we are going to discuss about Intel 2nd Gen i3 2100 processor codenamed Sandy Bridge. So we are going to test today Intel i3 2100. I'm going to see how much power does it have. Will it be enough to run modern titles today, or will it be crushed under the load of content creation? So without further ado, let's just dig into the numbers and what does it mean.
The first game we ran for benchmark was CSGO, which is fairly demanding on your CPU. We ran it at 720p with everything turned low and multi-core rendering enabled. The average FPS was around well above 100 FPS. The max was 205. The minimum stayed at 50. Though the game stutters when you're killed and when you're sniping slightly, as you can see it by low 0.1% and 0.1%. The game is playable. The other game which we tested was Dota 2, which is fairly demanding on CPU as well as GPU. The average frame rate we got was 69 FPS, which is well above the smooth gameplay threshold. The maximum we got was 100 FPS and the minimum at 48.4, though you might feel a slight stutter while a heavy spell casting is going or the heavy team fights are going on. Other than that, this is one of the games that runs very smooth on the given processor. The third game for which we ran benchmark is Fortnite, which is fairly new title, and it gave a maximum FPS of 114 while the average remained at 87.6. Though the minimum was 13.8, it is mostly because of lower core counts on our CPU, which was dragging it down. The last benchmark we ran is City Skyline, the custom map of Los Santos, which gave us a maximum FPS of 32.8 and the minimum FPS of 4.6. The average FPS was around 18.3. The game stutters a lot and it is heavily CPU bounded. The average FPS of 18.3 means that we are barely able to play game at this given frame rate, and the CPU is not at all good for playing this game. Though you can get better frame rates by reducing the quality and reducing the resolution at which the game is running. We ran at high preset and everything was on default with shadows and everything at far, which might result into a improved gameplay overall.
As we can see from the benchmark number, we can say that the processor is good enough to play modern titles. It isn't any groundbreaking or you're gonna get out of the roof frame rates, but it is playable, barely though. You're gonna get bearable FPSs at medium to low settings at 720p, though you can push the resolution to 1080 or higher if you want, but frame rates would be obviously shaky. It won't be that good. Other than that, what I can say is that if you are playing games on this at more than medium settings, you might suffer from slight stutters in games or input lags might happen. So now what you're going to do is we're going to test the processor for synthetic workload and how temperatures hold up in that synthetic workload, and we're going to test that using Cinebench and ADA 64.
Coming to synthetic benchmark, we ran Cinebench R15, which gave us a score of mere 215, which says a lot about the power of processor has, which is good enough for day-to-day use, but not so much good for professional workload other than editing photos in Photoshop.
Turn us to thousands, and we'll grow in number, fueled by them to see the horizon. Turn us to thousands, and on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow.
We ran ADA 60 for testing the temperatures of the CPU, which ran for more than 20 minutes. The CPU was running at the stock speed. Given the low TDP of 65 watts, the CPU held quite good as it was getting cooled by the stock fans that came with it. The hottest core stood at 65 degrees Celsius, whereas the whole CPU was sitting at roughly around 55-54 degrees Celsius under the synthetic load. And there was no thermal throttling at all. With this, stock fans are all you need to run this CPU cool and quiet at given temperatures.
So concluding the test data which we got from our benchmark run and synthetic test, we can conclude that the processor is very good at the given price point. The price at which we get this processor, it is decent enough to play. I mean, I say more than decent enough to play games, but it might suffer slightly, not slightly, it might suffer a lot in professional workload where you are doing video editing or any multi-threaded workload, as the processor is just 2 cores and 4 threads running at mere 3.1 gigahertz. Though the TDP is less at 65 watts, as you might have already know, it's not running that hot, but it might suffer a lot. And to conclude, I'll say that get this processor if you want to play games and not want to do a professional workload like video editing or something. The only reason to buy this processor is if you're on ultra budget and trying to build a PC with future upgradability in mind, which is doable because you can use the same chipset to upgrade up to 3rd generation i7-3770K, which would give you a significant boost in your gaming as well as professional work content creation. This is for today's video. Be sure to like, subscribe and share the video. This is Prabhat signing out.